everybody to our council meeting. Welcome to the members of the public. If there's any members of the press here, you're most welcome. And welcome all their staff. Welcome to our council meeting, Monday the 15th of September. Attendance, we have one councillor on leave, Councillor Archer, and an apology from Councillor McCullough. Table of contents is as is?
As is, yeah.
Okay, now I need to read out a statement. Just get down here first. Before we go any further. And I ask that everybody have their phone on silent, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please note this meeting is being audio live streamed and recorded on the Council's website in accordance with the Council's live streaming of Open Council meeting policy. The recording will be archived and made available on the Council's website after the meeting. While care is taken to maintain your privacy while in attendance at the Council meeting, please note that your presence in the Council chambers and or your voice may be live streamed and recorded, including any statement made during public question time or consideration of planning matters. All speakers ought to refrain from making any defamatory comments or releasing personal information of another individual without their prior consent. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from defamatory comments, and all liability will rest with the individual making those comments. By remaining in the public gallery, you are deemed to consent to being live streamed and recorded. So if any person attending the meeting does not agree to being live streamed or recorded, you may choose to leave the meeting. Thank you. Okay, acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge and pay our respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and original owners and continuing custodians of this land in which we gather today, and acknowledge elders past and present. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest from councillors? No, well, I've got a couple. Information items 5.3.1 and 15. Hang on, sorry. Open this up a bit. And 15.3, council allowances. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes from the ordinary council meeting Monday the 18th of August. Councillor Adams. Councillor Andrews. All those in favour?
I'd like to speak against it.
Okay, yes.
I'm concerned that in those minutes that there is no reference to under 16.2, the review of the Sticky Beaks Corner. During that debate, there was concern raised by myself in relation to the validity of that motion, and there is no reference to the validity of that motion in those minutes. Whilst I acknowledge there has been advice provided previously, it did include as part of that meeting, part of the discussion that Councillor Goss raised a motion. That motion is there, but no background of why that motion was raised, and that I raised concern about the motion being a motion that was contrary to the regulation.
Does that need to be recorded in?
I think what we will do is have to, obviously we can't now because we haven't got the advice, but it could be
Good advice.
deferred to the next meeting.
Yes, so we'll have to defer though the decision about accepting those minutes to the next meeting. The date of the next council meeting is Monday the 20th of October. Can I ask the Deputy Mayor to take the chair, please?
Thank you, Mayor. 5.3 motions on notice by a councillor, and we have a motion from the Mayor. The notice of motion is to lift the tone campaign. So I will invite the Mayor to speak to...
Well, I'd like to move that motion.
Sorry, meant to move, my apologies, to move that motion.
If I have a second.
And do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews.
I'd just like to briefly say that this motion is about being respectful to each other, councillors being respectful to each other, members of the public being respectful to councillors, and we as leaders in the community are role modelling how we should behave. So I put this motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Andrews, did you want to speak?
I think it's terrific to see this in black and white. There's been discussion in the community and in local government about this particular matter for a long, long time. So it's good to see that Legati is leading the way and offering us a way forward, and it's a great idea.
Councillor Andrews. Any other speakers?
I'd like to speak against the
Yes,
motion.
Councillor Terrett.
Whilst I appreciate lifting the tone, and I, to that some extent, don't disagree that we need to lift the tone on all levels of government, this is about promoting civility in public debate, refraining from abusive language and behaviour online, in person, encouraging others to engage respectfully. But why do people become abusive and harassed? That's probably a stronger question. We can have as many campaigns. This has been going on since late last year. I don't see much change has occurred. We have to ask, why do people bully and harass and intimidate and show lack of respect? Councils, if we're asking for respect ourselves, we should act accordingly. There is a concern when and as a councillor, I've had raised in many occasions where phone calls don't get returned, emails don't get returned, and as a councillor, abuse has been, I've felt first-hand abuse, both in person, at the council, through council employees, and one which was a very vicious attack on me where the council did very little.
Point of order, councillor.
I'm talking about raising the tone.
There's a point of, excuse me, there's a point of order has been questioned, so I'll address the point of order. Councillor Andrews, you had a point of order?
Yes.
Could you please, what's your point of
I
order?
don't think this is the appropriate platform to talk about personal details of alleged concerns and attacks. We're talking about supporting a campaign, which is a statewide campaign. I don't think this is the appropriate place, Councillor Terrett, I'm afraid.
And I will say that we do have processes in place to support those things. And this motion is about supporting the campaign. So I'll ask you to sum up, please.
No, I still have quite a bit to say, actually. I don't think sitting...
Well, I just need to remind you that you need to stay on the topic
I'll
of...
stay on the topic of the campaign, but it's about lifting the tone. And lifting the tone has to start from in-house at all councils, at all levels. I've been abused through letters by others in council, and in areas where a greater...
Again, point of order, I think we have procedures to deal with those things, Councillor Terrett. This is becoming a personal...
But if you want to lift the tone, council needs to lift the tone. I've been affected directly by these type of allegations and harassment and bullying. I can't sit back here and say, oh, everybody in the community respect us, if we don't respect ourselves. And it's about mutual respect and setting an ability that we respect ourselves. We can't expect the community to respect us unless we respect them. And I think that's important. We're living in a democracy, and sometimes democracy brings a diversity of opinions and ideas. Sometimes we don't agree with them, but social media, we live in the 21st century where social media and cultural change has occurred. The community demand more accountability, more transparency. It's about better consultation, communication, and then the community will start respecting. We will start lifting the tone through our actions. I'm not defending people who are bullying and harassing because I don't think it's correct. And having it firsthand, myself as a councillor over the last 3 years, where I've had to refer offensive actions to the police, where it's been threatening.
And the point of order, please, Councillor
This
Andrews.
is, again, a personal platform that you're speaking from personal experience, and this is not the appropriate place to
Give
do
an
it.
examples of lifting the tone.
Well, we could all do that round the table, couldn't we, Councillor?
Point of order, thank you. I agree we could all sit here tonight and talk about these issues. I too have been victim of abuse, and my family and others as well. I think everyone at this table could actually recount some time where they have felt bullied, harassed, intimidated by people in the community, or unfortunately sometimes people around other venues. However, I think we need to either look at whether we're going to support this motion of lifting the tone, and if you're going to support it or not, I would like you to sum up in the next 30 seconds, please, because I think you've had your time, Councillor, with respect, Councillor Terry.
Yeah, I'm looking at the campaign, and I think it will do very little to changing wider communities' behaviour. Those who bully and harass people will continue to do that. Unfortunately, the extent of social media will continue that. Asking the community to lift their tone will not occur unless councils lift their tone, and that can be done by showing by example. We should show leadership. It's not for the community, well, it is for the community, but for everybody to show leadership in lifting the tone.
Thank you, Councillor Terrett.
Just quickly sum
Mayor,
up.
would you like to sum up? Oh, I'm sorry, is there any other councillors that would like to make comment? Councillor Brooks.
I'll support the motion, but I'm agreeing with Councillor Terrett on some things that the council in the organisation needs to lift their tone as well. I constantly get complaints from ratepayers that they'll send an email into council and there's no response at all. Now, that gets people's backs up. Like, you know, that's where a lot of the abuse comes from. So, and it's us councillors that have to then pick up the pieces and then try and follow these things up. So it's all good and well to put up a motion, all sounds all nice and fluffy, but if we're not fair dinkum, it's never going to work.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Any other comments? I will just need to clarify with the Mayor before she sums up. Are you actually moving the officer's recommendation or your recommendation?
No, officer's recommendation.
The officer's recommendation. Would you like to sum up, please, Mayor?
Just very briefly, we need to start somewhere, and that's what this motion's about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I will now put the motion of the officer's recommendations. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Yes.
Can I just have a show of hands against? So the motion is passed. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that one.
5.3.2. Notice of motion, transition of council's small fleet to electric vehicles. This is a motion put forward by Councillor Terrett. Do you wish to move a motion, Councillor Terrett?
Yes, I'd like to move the motion as I have proposed.
So that is that a report be prepared for council with a goal to transition all small council fleet vehicles to electric vehicle to support council's climate resilience strategy. So is there a seconder? Councillor Brooks, do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Terrett?
Yes, I would actually. This motion is about getting this council climate ready, and whilst it's only a small step, and I acknowledge it, it's a small step, it's an important step that council showed leadership here. Emissions and reducing emissions is an important aspect, and making the council ready for and responsive to the climate change. The council has moved in climate resilience strategy, and this is a factor on that. With additional EV vehicles being released in 25 and 26, the increasing opportunity for getting even larger machinery, equipment and plant as electric over to electric is important. The Tasmanian government has set 100% electric vehicle fleet by 2030. That's only 5 years away. And changing the stamp duty policy in relation to EV to encourage. LGAT has also been working very vigilantly to try to encourage councils to go to EV vehicles. And the federal government has ongoing commitment to the exemption of FBT for EV vehicles. Even the Northern Midlands Council Corporate Carbon Energy Opportunities for 2024 said that the most likely path to achieve a significant reduction in fleet emissions is to transition to battery-powered EV and plants. The Council's carbon footprint report from 25 also suggests the Council do a trial with light fleet categories, e.g. pool cars and supervisors' vehicles. I would suggest that later in this council meeting, we also have a policy for amending our councillor allowance and travel policy, which suggests that the mayor could opt for a vehicle. I would think that showing leadership would also mean saying that should also be an EV vehicle to having it, and also look at some of the senior managers to also have EV vehicles. In some councils, EV vehicles have been an important part of their transition, and showing to the public that there is a need to change and to be conscious of climate change generally. And a council that I just found out today, Hobart Council, has done quite a bit, and Brighton Council has a number of EV vehicles in their fleet. It is not a commitment to EV vehicles at this stage. It is merely to bring a report back to this council so further consideration. Given our restraints on our resources, that may be 12 months down the track. However, something has to happen, and we as councillors need to progress and to be realistic with climate change and to show leadership in climate resilience.
Any further comment from anybody? Councillor Andrews?
Yes, I would like to thank Councillor Terrick for raising this motion because it's opened up a whole pile of information that's come back to councillors from our staff, which I wasn't aware of, and so I'm going to have to vote against Councillor Terrick's motion, even though I appreciate him bringing it up because it sourced that information, and the information that's come back, it's in our papers and it's at length on our attachments, is to really to say that our council works manager and staff are right on this. The figures that they've got on where we're at with taking into account climate change and changing over our fleets, etc., is amazing. We're on top of it and in front of a lot of other councils, I would say, at the stage we're at. So Councillor Terrick has raised a very important issue, and we've found out by raising that our council staff are across this and have a plan and are rolling it out as the council can afford it, and I congratulate them. Thank you.
Councillor Lambert?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to support the motion. I think it's very important, even though I've read the report and I understand that this is going to be extremely expensive and it's something, but it is something that I think we need to start looking at transitioning to. And I appreciate and want to acknowledge all the work that is currently being done, as Councillor Andrews alluded to. However, my only issue with the motion is the time frame. I think I'm not sure that's a realistic time frame, 2028. I think if it could be extended out a little bit for budgetary constraints. I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure on our budget. I am going to support it, however, but I just think that's a little bit of an unrealistic time frame. But I presume the report will come back with information around timeframes and budgets and how we might transition into those get those EV vehicles going, because other councils are doing it now. So I think, you know, and we are showing that we're doing lots of other things as well. So I will support the motion.
Councillor Goss, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm not going to support the motion because support EV vehicles, but unfortunately with our council, we're a rural council. We travel on highways and most of our driving is on those type of roads. EV cars are not efficient on highways. They're okay in towns and in cities, in slow driving, but once you're on highways, the efficiency they use for the drag and the wind drops about 30%. So if you had a vehicle that did 500 k's on the stats from the shop, it'd only get about 350 k's out of it on our highways in Northern Midlands. So I don't believe that the efficiency there at the minute for councils to take those on board until cars come out to reduce some of that drag in the open highways, I think then maybe we might be able to look at something then. But at the moment, I don't think the technology's there, so I couldn't support that because the technology is just not quite right yet. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is a very good motion to have before us, and we need to certainly start to transact to another, to the new world, which is electrical vehicles and batteries. There is a lot of work being done by council and the officers, and I look forward to receiving a report that takes us down this track very soon. But I'm not very pleased with the timelining here, or trying to force a time limit onto the process. I think we need to look at everything in a whole report and therefore make a decision in that way. And also by that time we might be looking at other ways. It looks like hydrogen has been pushed back a bit, and I think heavy vehicles would have been probably going down that path, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen just with hydrogen at the moment. So they might be battery operated too. So yeah, at this stage I won't support the motion, but it's great to see it on the papers, and I look forward to not too near in the future having a report from the council officers.
Councillor Brooks has a second. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Terrett, do you wish to sum up?
Just summing up, I think it's important for this council to be realistic about climate change, and not just to say we should be taking our time. We did do a climate resilience strategy, and I congratulate council for doing that, because work does need to get done. Other levels of government, and I particularly point out the state government, has had a commitment to 2030. They've introduced some budget funding, $500,000 for businesses and public areas to install additional charging devices. 2028 was the, look, I hear what the council is saying about 2028, but that's the time frame of our climate resilience strategy. But I think we should continue to look at this and look seriously at where we can do better to address climate change. And
Okay, I will put that recommendation, and this is the recommendation of Councillor Terrett. All those in favour? Against? Aye. Myself, Councillor Adams, Councillor Goss and Councillor Andrews, so that motion's lost. Councillor, questions on notice is next. Councillor Terrett has submitted several questions on notice, and the answers are in the agenda. That's all we need to say there. I'd move a second for those, do I? Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Okay, a mover and a seconder that council receive the questions on notice and note the answers provided. Councillor Goss and Councillor Lambert. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Council committee minutes. We've got a recommendation there that the following minutes of meetings of council committees be received. Morven Park, Evandale Community Information Centre. You're moving Councillor Adams and Councillor Lambert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. The Evandale District Committee has raised a motion around the toilet block shower, and the officer's recommendation is that council note the committee's request for clarification regarding the $5,000 budget allocation for the Pioneer Park amenities, public shower facility, and acknowledges this matter is operational in nature and will be managed by council officers accordingly. And they will let that committee know, won't they?
Yes, so the $5,000 will provide a coin-operated facility and start the facility, or make the facility available.
Councillor Goss, you're moving that motion? Councillor Terrett, any discussion?
I'd just like to...
Oh, Councillor, yes, all right, Councillor Terrett first and then Councillor Andrews.
Yeah, look, I think the fact that we're providing showers, we should take every opportunity to try to open up those earlier if we can. I know that you've put it this as an operational matter. Yes, 5,000. I'd like to see us try to move a little bit quicker on that. We've done some trials here in Longford. I think this is an important area. There are people that come here in caravan and tourists who might want to use that showers, and more importantly, homeless people. And if we give them facilities when they are unfortunate, then that might be a way of doing it. And I think this is a motion that's worthy of council support.
Councillor Lambert.
Thank you, Mayor. A question, I think everyone's very well aware what a big supporter I have been of these facilities. But my question is, it says the timeline for operations is in the first quarter of the financial year, so it must be about to happen very soon. Am I correct?
Well, I'm not sure that we will get it done in the first quarter, but
What it says.
certainly it will be as sooner than later.
Okay, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. There's also a recommendation from Evandale around the Pioneer Park Master Plan, and the officer's recommendation is that council note the request and the committee will receive the information when the project progresses. So we'll move around to seconder for that one. Councillor Goss and Councillor Andrews. Any discussion? Councillor Goss, Councillor Andrews, Councillor Terry.
I just have a question to the Works Manager. If you can clarify what the 350,000 is for, and just make it a bit more clear about the 350,000 which we have to go.
350,000 for stage one. Stage one was a playground area. Then there's a couple of stages up that, which is irrigation and pathways.
Further discussion? I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Longford Local District Committee have a recommendation around pedestrian safety concerns, Wellington and Marlborough Streets. And the recommendation from the officers is that council note the Longford District Committee concerns, confirm that this is not a council-owned road and any request should be directed to the Department of State Growth, and advise State Growth of the committee's concerns. So we'll move in a seconder, please. Councillor Goss and Councillor Adams. Any discussion? Councillor Goss?
It's just that a lot of pedestrians and people movement in the centre of Longford and all over Longford, and I think it's a good thing that the committee's going to take forward to the State Growth and see if they will address it some way.
Councillor Adams, do you wish to speak?
I do, thank you, Mayor. This has been an issue for a long time and will continue to be an issue. This corner, Heritage Corner, as it's known in Longford, it does have a lot of traffic now, and is a very congested area coming together of 4 roads basically, and a lot of traffic. But it isn't Council's Road. The cost I see of one of the ideas that came up has been really, the town committee has worked hard at finding solutions, and I see that the raised platform has a cost of 500,000. So I don't think we'll move on that, but I think we have to move on to state growth and influence state growth, and we're going to do that by our local state politicians in the State House becoming aware of the problems of the citizens here, that we need something done on this corner. I think it needs a major report. We need a major report, engineer's report. I'm sure there's solutions, much better solutions than we have at the moment. And but we need State Growth to take that responsibility and to give us a good engineer to give a report on how we can improve that area.
Councillor Terry.
I won't object to this motion, but I have huge concerns. We're asking State Growth to pull their finger out. We've been asking them for ages. They are an absolute disgrace in providing services to this council area. Again, we're waiting for them. The district committee has been chasing about reducing the speed limit in Wellington and Marlborough Street from 60 to 50. In most of our towns, in Evandale, in Main Street, in Campbelltown, Perth, have all been reduced to a 50-kilometre zone. And Mr Neil Tubb was here at the last council meeting suggesting a raised area so people can know that they're in a dangerous area and have a raised area to doing that. Now, I must have seen more than half a dozen, or maybe even a dozen, motions asking for council to write to state growth. I think the time has actually come where we've got to go beyond that, and Councillor Adams raised that we've got to start almost doing a political campaign or a campaign to try to get them to respond to our requests. Yeah, it's fine to keep asking the public servants to do things. And I know the Mayor shares the concern about state growth and there's just a lack of answers that we get. And I just think this is something we have to start raising a bit stronger. We were successful in Cressy in reducing the speed limit through the main street in Cressy from 60 to 50 by writing to MPs. And I might suggest at this stage, and with the mover's consent, that whether we should also write to our 7 local members on specifically about concerns within Wellington and Marlborough Street and the need for state growth to start giving us answers, because we're not getting answers. You know, we could write, and I support the fact we need to write and get them to give us an answer, but we're not getting any. And I don't want to be sitting here in 12 months' time still saying we'll write to them again. I hope that's not the case, but the track record hasn't been good.
Any further discussion? Yeah.
So obviously we have written a number of issues. I can follow that up, but maybe we could also invite this new General Manager of State Growth. We could probably invite him to meet with council.
Happy with that, thank you.
Any further discussion? I'll put that recommendation. Oh, Councillor Goss, you wish to sum up?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused by Councillor Tuitt's statement, because around Sticky Beaks Corner, the speed limit is 50 kilometres per hour. In front of that and right up through there, I'm not sure. I'm a bit confused about that, so I just want to make clear that it is 50 kilometres now. So,
can I just clarify that? Is that okay for you? I'm talking about the whole of Wellington and Marlborough Street. I acknowledge the fact that Sticky Beaks is a 50, but I think consistency throughout Marlborough and Wellington Street.
Shopping area is 50.
Yeah.
knowing what the report said.
Okay, I'm going to put that recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Longford Local District Committee, sorry. Oh, beg your pardon. Right, we better go into planning. We better start planning. I'll go to the public question time. Right, public questions and statements. Is there anybody in the public gallery who wishes to make a statement or ask a question about anything that's not to do with our planning items? Yes, just to state your name and the town you live in, and you've got 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. My name's Janice Miller and I'm addressing item number 8.4 on tonight's meeting agenda. I'll put my glasses on. As part of the Avondale community, I participated in the collection
Excuse
of...
me, that's not a planning item, is it?
I don't think it's I think it's a petition.
Oh,
Yeah.
beg your pardon, radio, yes.
Starts again, yes. As part of the Avondale community, I participated in the collection of signatures for a recent petition to council regarding an extremely unpopular and unwarranted rezoning application. Over a short period of time, several community members gathered signatures from concerned citizens appalled at what was being considered. The petition was addressed to Councillor Terrett, who on receipt of the petition immediately registered it with the acting general manager, Ms Brignall, who checked it and declared it as a valid petition. As councillors will know, Ms Brignall is a highly respected senior council staff member, and over the years she's acted in the role of general manager on numerous occasions, often for long periods of time when the role was vacant. After following all council's instructions to petitioners, it was a relief to know that someone with Ms Brignall's seniority and experience had validated our petition. After following all council's it was therefore a shock to discover that a week later the General Manager, Mr Jennings, chose to invalidate the petition. I consider that his reasons are not valid. Mr Jennings...
I'll just interrupt there. We'll be very careful about
Yes,
criticising people, please.
Yep.
He's following legislation.
Mr Jennings claims that the number of signatures is incorrect. 407 is noted in the petition statement, and it is the correct number. It has been carefully checked by petition organisers. The second cause for rejection is also invalid. 4 pages lack the full title of the rezoning issue. However, the intent of the petition is clearly stated on those 4 pages, as it is on all 23 pages. If the 4 pages did not 100% comply, the General Manager could have removed them, and there are 103 signatures. This would have left the remaining 304 signatures on 19 valid pages. The petition statement is on a valid page. This is the 3rd community petition in recent times that the General Manager has refused to accept, each time without the courtesy of contacting the person signing the petition statement. Consultation would enable the concerns of the General Manager to be addressed and rectified. Community petitions take a lot of collective work to prepare. They are essential communication tools for large numbers of persons to highlight an issue to elected members. They are not statutory instruments, but they do convey a request to elected members to represent the wishes of the community. It's concerning that the General Manager appears to be acting as a gatekeeper, making unilateral decisions on validity of petitions.
Excuse me, I'll just remind you that
As a public servant, the role of a council's General Manager is to serve the community, not obstruct efforts of concerned citizens. In line with the intent of the Lift the Tone, I hereby request that our elected members, councillors, instruct the General Manager to be more engaged and respectful towards community members and assist them in their endeavours to liaise with council and our elected members. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the community who wishes to make a statement or ask a question about something that's not related to the planning items? Yes.
Little Tub, Barbara Street, Longford. My comment tonight is about 7.2.1. Nice to hear the councillor supporting what the district committee is trying to do. What I wanted to highlight was we don't believe it is just a matter of advising state growth, as listed by the officer's comments. We believe that we proposed a safer option, as has been discussed here, between Sticky Beaks Corner and the library, and we specifically request council ask state growth to review and possibly implement. As is pointed out by council officers, this road is a state growth responsibility, and I hear what Councillor Adams said about the $500,000. So obviously we believe it's up to state growth to decide whether a flat top road hub is appropriate for that area or not. As we know, it's nothing to do with, it's not a council road. That's all I'd like to
Thank you,
say.
Mr. Tubb. Yes. Thank you. Is there any other member of the community who would like to make a statement or ask a question about something that's not related to our planning items? Okay, we'll move into planning. Have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Lambert, Councillor Terrett. No, I'm on the wrong spot now. Yep. All those in favour? No. Against? Carried. Now, is there any member of the community who wishes to make a statement around planning 1, which is 5 Escaley Road, Perth, insert site-specific qualifications combined with a 2-lot subdivision? Yes. I would just let people know for the planning items, 2 people can speak for something and 2 against. So if you are all against something, you need to pick your people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My name's George Walker. I'm speaking on behalf of the applicant, 60 Degrees. We're speaking for the recommendation, which is to initiate the draft amendment. I won't go into the technicalities of the proposal. This piece of land has a long history at council, within council, dating back to the inception of the Perth Structure Plan. In recent times, you may or may not be aware, there's been some attempts to sever the land that's owned Future Urban, which is on the northern side of Glen Ira, in relation to Midland Highway. Unfortunately, the current statutory controls within the planning scheme don't allow that, although that had been explored. And there has been some attempts also at other scheme amendment applications with concerns raised around stormwater and other future development implications of the land. This particular amendment seeks to combine a scheme amendment and to include the subdivision of the land into 2 lots. The rationale of the amendment is the current landowner, Mr. Bernie Inoda, who's before me here, he's unable to or doesn't have the capacity to or willingness to develop it himself. And in order to do so, there is quite a long process of work involved with council to deal with issues such as stormwater, issues of aligning any future development with the Perth Structure Plan. This scheme amendment proposes to apply a site-specific qualification, which allows us to subdivide the future urban zone into a single lot and leave the balanced land within the agriculture zone. It keeps the underlying zones, which means that all of the controls around the future urban zone of not being able to subdivide that land further will remain in play. The hope is that this would be initiated and hopefully approved ultimately by the Tasmanian Planning Commission. It can then be sold by Bernie and then hopefully a developer is able to purchase that land and then work with council developing a future draft amendment and subdivision application and work with council to align that with the structure plan and deal with issues such as infrastructure, including stormwater, which are known and wanting to be worked through, but at the moment it's very difficult whilst it's in one land ownership. On that basis, we stand here and seek council support for the initiation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public who would like to speak on Planning 1? Okay, we'll go to Planning 2. Do you have any members of the public who wish to speak on Planning 2, which is to rezone 4 Ridgeside Lane, 38 Arthur Street, 95 Logan Road, and part of 211 Logan Road, Avondale, and apply a modified Avondale specific area plan to the land? 2 people can speak for and 2 against. So if there's anyone who wishes to speak for the proposal? Okay, would anyone wish to speak against the proposal? State your name and where you live, and you've got 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So my name's Jennifer George and I live in Avondale. So my husband and I purchased our home in Avondale late last year after moving from Westbury. We spent 4 years living in Westbury, and during that very short space of time we saw how overdevelopment and subdivision significantly affected not only the streetscape of that Georgian village but also the sense of community. And we are deeply concerned that the same thing will happen in Avondale. So we chose to move our 4 children to Avondale from Westbury. Rather than going into a high density location like Launceston, we wanted to give our children the opportunity to live somewhere where they were surrounded by natural beauty of the farmlands and the agricultural lands. And also we wanted to give them the opportunity of being able to walk from one end of their village to the other and to be known by their neighbours. This proposal would significantly impact their ability to do that and to live within a community that demonstrates respect for its heritage. I have significant concerns in terms of the health and safety risk posed by this proposal. So to increase the footprint of the village by 130% and to increase the population by 80% will increase the volume of traffic, not only in the 10 to 15 year proposed construction period, which will increase things like diesel fumage, which is highly carcinogenic, vibrations which can disrupt sleep patterns and increase anxiety in individuals, but also you're talking about increased dust, the traffic and road safety issues, particularly for somebody who has 4 young children. That is a big concern to me, and as I live on Barclay Street, we will be directly affected by that. I also have concerns about the fact that this proposal will affect the very unique nature and charm of Avondale, and Australia doesn't have, out of Australia's long history, we don't have much of that history left visible to us, and we have an obligation to protect that, not only for future generations, but for the people who have chosen to invest in that, as we have and as many people in this room have. And we have visitors that come to Avondale to enjoy that they don't necessarily have the good fortune to possess in their own communities. So, and again, to those people who would argue that this constitutes progress, I would argue probably that progress is better served by protecting what we currently have rather than potentially exploiting something at the risk of losing such a valuable village. So I would urge council to please reject this proposal.
Thank you, thank you. Now, as we didn't have anyone else wanting to speak for, I beg your pardon, we didn't have anyone wanting to speak for, is there somebody else who'd like to speak against? Yes, just state your name and you've got 3 minutes.
My name's Rhonda Mortimer and I've lived in Evandale for 26 years. I'm speaking on behalf of a large group of deeply concerned Evandale residents. The Traders in Purple proposed rezoning is not demand driven. In 2024, the Residential Demand and Supply Study was commissioned by the Northern Tasmania Development Corporation. The findings of this study clearly show that in the Northern Midlands LGA, there will be a surplus of 804 parcels of land available for residential development. This is more than 26 years' supply. Within Evandale's specific area plan, there are at least 168 residential blocks within 2 large parcels of land available for immediate development. There is no need for more residential land outside the specific area plan. The land proposed for rezoning is currently agricultural land. 83% of it lies within the North Esk Irrigation Scheme. Under the State Policy on Protection of Agricultural Land 2009, this land must be protected due to its regional agricultural value and irrigation access. Evandale is listed on the Commonwealth Register of National Estate and celebrated for its intact 19th century character. The heritage study conducted on behalf of Traders in Purple looked only at the proposed development site and not the broader impact on the unique heritage character of the village. There is no evidence that either the National Trust or Heritage Tasmania has been consulted. The increased volume of traffic poses a direct threat to Evandale's heritage fabric, particularly from heavy construction vehicles, including vibration risks to the bluestone foundations of our historic buildings. There is no bypass road planned, so all traffic will flow through the historic village. Evandale's narrow historic streets were never designed to accommodate the traffic loads and volumes that this proposal would impose. The significant increase in traffic will further reduce the safety of pedestrians and cyclists around the village, many of whom are children. There is no proper plan as to how stormwater, wastewater and sewage will be removed from the site. Taswater has no plans to expand its network into newly rezoned land. Traders in Purple has its Logan Road land on the market, so any assurances they have given council concerning their plans for the proposed development must now carry little, if any, weight.
That's your
We
3
urge
minutes.
council, I've got one sentence.
Okay.
We urge councillors to consider carefully the scale and location of the proposed development that will have an irrevocable, damaging impact on Evandale's unique heritage and character. We respectfully ask you to reject the rezoning proposal.
Here.
Okay, councillors, we will now deal with planning 1, the draft amendment 19/2025, 5 Escley Road, Perth, and insert a site-specific qualification combined with a 2-lot subdivision. There's a recommendation that the Planning Authority, I'm not going to read it all, but I will read the first 2 little bits, under section 38(2)A of the Land Planning and Approvals Act 1993, decide to agree to the amendment to insert site-specific qualifications, NOR 21-1 and NOR 31, and to prepare a draft amendment 19/2025 to the Northern Midlands Local Provision Schedule as below, and under section 40F2A of the Act, certify that draft amendment 14/2024 meet section 34, the LPS criteria of the Act. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Goss and Councillor Terrett. Where's my planning? Here we go. Councillor Goss, do you wish to speak to it?
Yeah, just that significant movement in that area, and I think it's something that will hopefully we see progress in the future, and will make a big difference to the Northern Midlands area and also to the Perth area. And so I just wish it's all the best. Thank you.
Councillor Terrett, do you wish to speak?
Just very quickly, look, I support this wholeheartedly. That land has been sitting there. There has been proposals in the past in relation to housing. This is probably the better, gives an opportunity for more housing in Perth, in an area. There are some challenges in that block, but by doing this two-lot subdivision, it actually allows that land can now be examined for doing something else with it.
Any further discussion, Councillor? Sorry,
Can I just say that
yes.
there's a typo in point 2 where it says draft amendment 14 of 2024 should be 19 of 2025. Thanks.
Thank you for picking that up. I wondered when I was reading. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll be supporting this. I think it's a good concept to rezone this block for residential area. There is some water issues on drainage. It's a very low block in the sense of on the water that needs to drain back to the west. On the other end, it drains down to the southeast. Okay, and these were issues which have held this development up over the years, as you would know, Mayor. So let's hope that rezoning it, and then we can get plans that can solve that. I'm sure the engineering can solve the issue and make sure that we get the water away, and therefore make good residence for people to live there.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Andrews.
Just to add that I think this is a win-win situation. It's a if we endorse this motion, it's a win for the landowner who was left in a fairly precarious position when the bypass went through, left with a big chunk of land that was basically unworkable as a farm. So it makes sense to do this, and it's a win for the community that land is now sitting there right beside Perth, ready for development when somebody comes along to provide some more homes.
Any further discussion? Councillor Goss, do you wish to sum up?
Only just that, the Northern Midlands is a very rapid growing area. We've got lots of development happening here, especially in the rural area to south of Longford and south of Perth as well. Irrigation and farming and agricultural stuff, high intensity stuff like berry farms and those type of things. A lot of people are being employed. Housing is a premium at the moment in our rural communities. Cressy, I'm not sure about Evandale and such, but you can't get a house at Cressy. You're struggling to get one at Longford. Things are pretty, and I think having this more property come on board, I think we look pretty good. When we look at somewhere like the airport, we've already got stuff on our books about the intermodal hub that'll make a big difference to the Northern Midlands area. That also will boost our employment and in our communities really strongly. And there's lots of things that we will have to deal with in the future, and I definitely think this will help that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Motion's carried. Okay, hang on. Planning 2 is a draft amendment. Should that be 2025 as well?
No, that is 24 because it was
14. 2024, rezone 4 Ridgeside Lane, 38 Arthur Street, 95 Logan Road and part of 211 Logan Road, Evandale, and apply a modified Evandale specific area plan. And the planner's recommendation, again I won't read it all, but I will read the first parts of it. Our recommendation, the Council receive the attached report titled Consultation and Feedback Report by AD Design and Consulting, the 22nd of August 2025, and that pursuant to Section 38(2)A and Section 40D of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993, the Planning Authority agreed to prepare a draft amendment 1424 to the Northern Midlands Local Provisions Schedule, which includes modifications to the applicant's request pursuant to section 40F2B of the Act as follows, and I'll just read number 1. To rezone the land at 14 Ridgeside Lane, 95 Logan Road and part of 211 Logan Road, Evandale, from the agricultural zone to the general residential, rural living, local business and community purpose and open space zones as follows. Can I have a mover and a seconder for a motion? Councillor Terrett.
Can I move refusal of this? And on the grounds, as has been drafted, and I think every councillor has a draft, on a number of grounds, many that have been raised by areas, and I'm just clarifying that for the minute secretary, the grounds for refusal.
That's what's up now.
Yep.
And do we have a seconder? Councillor Brooks? Councillor Terrett, do you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I would. I think this is probably one of the most significant rezonings that we've had in my last 3 years, and probably one of the more significant have been for the Northern Midlands. It'll change the entire character of a national heritage town, and we have to be mindful of that. You know, we have towns which is, as we've seen just in our previous motion, in relation to Perth. But we also have a town here that's unique, of Georgian and Victorian architecture, which has heritage. It is unique because it was designed so long ago. And as a council, we have an obligation to protect our heritage. It's in our own slogan as the heritage heart of Tasmania. And therefore, this is an area. But there are more than that reason that it should be knocked back. And we should be looking at whether the development is suitable, whether there is existing, whether it's in line with existing growth and development, whether it changes the character, the rural view of the town, the agricultural land use, as raised by earlier by Speaker. We need to protect some of our agricultural land, and that is certainly changing around Evandale with wineries being built and being a designated irrigation district. Transport growth and the predictions and the impact of transport, and in particular the traffic, the additional traffic over the number of years. Now this is been put as a 15-year, 20-year plan. Anything can happen in that period, and we've already had the state government saying that planning may be taken out of the council's hands, put in the state hands. That would probably be very bad for the community because the say in the community has become less. I particularly also would like to raise the environmental concerns and in the neighbouring properties with the green gold frog, the bandicoots that live in that general area. These are all important. Now, people say, well, they can move or get somewhere else, but we should be protecting these environments. It's just not good enough to say, let's just put this in and hope for the best with stormwater or runoff. We need to protect that. And even though, and particularly the green gold frog, which is a vulnerable frog species, I can't see any approval by federal government to, in relation to that. Further concern is aircraft noise. And Launceston Airport, in their response to the council, was also raised that from the runway, departures on the 14R runway and arrivals on 32L will potentially go over this land. So people living there will get some aircraft noise. As you see with runways and flight paths, they do change over time. It's always a concern there. There is little in this that discourages the reliance on vehicles and encourages walkability. The University of Tasmania, only a few years ago, did the Evandale walkability study, and that's something that I support and encourage. This does nothing to continue that. The current and planned water supplies are priorities that should be put for TasWater regardless of this. It's certainly a development that's going to be too large to cope with this, and we're already having problems. on Western Junction, where we need to upgrade sewerage works there.
Just remember, you've only got 5 minutes,
Yeah, I
Councillor.
know. I'm trying to get to the end. We need a safer environment. We need, towns are not just about planning, they're about communities and touching base with communities, actually listening to them. And I've never seen a rezoning that's had such strong opposition. 98% of submissions coming here opposed to it. As a councillor, I cannot ignore that, and neither should the council. And therefore, I am advocating that the council should refuse this application, and hopefully this is the last we see of this rezoning of that area.
Councillor Brooks, do you wish to speak?
No, I think Councillor Terrett's covered it.
Any further discussion? Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll support the refusal. I've never been very enthusiastic about this proposal, and I think it would change the village enormously, and I would like to have seen and I think we should add to our objections of why we're refusing it, the heritage village status of Evandale, and that it would reduce the values, those heritage values, and there's no, we don't have any argument in that proposal, so we need to have that.
It's already in there, Councillor Adams.
Is it?
Point 4.
Okay, point 4.
Oh, not on the piece of paper.
No, it's on
the board.
On the board, okay, thank you. I'm pleased that someone's much faster than me. Also, there are water issues that would come into the next stage of planning if this was approved to rezone. But I think those issues, and I'm getting more and more of those issues, problems when you rezone something and then you've got to find the solutions. And there's always the pressure then to achieve outcomes. So the issues of bandicoots, which are across the northern Midlands, we're losing the banded bandicoot, probably to the feral cats, and there's been some good work done by some academics in that space. But I'm sure that would be an effect here. I would like to say, and there's a lot of Evandale people here that have had several roles in my life, and in other roles I've had to deal with Evandale losing its doctor because there was no growth and not enough people.
Please stick to the planning application.
Okay. And so I don't want to see no growth in Evandale because there's always a school to keep going, and there's always buses and other things, and you need enough people to make sure that those things work. So I'll be supporting our opposition to this proposal.
Councillor Goss.
Yeah, just at the community, I suppose. This is a rezoning application, and the best thing to do is try and stop the rezoning. That's the best thing to do, which you've done, and that's something really important to take on board, because once something gets rezoned, that's really difficult to put restrictions on it later on down the track. You've got to do it at that rezoning stage. So, I suppose you've done really well by coming here and doing a part thing. So I would say that. I thought of the biggest part of it, I oppose this rezoning is because there's no ring road there anymore. There was a plan to take the traffic away from Evandale area, as such, the main part of the town, and that's not there. I don't believe we can support it because of that, in its essence, because we definitely need to have some way to manage that traffic from 260 blocks of land and all the building and everything else that happens. I really quite like the idea of some bigger blocks at the back of Evandale so people could bigger homes and places for families and sheep and those kind of things. I thought that was a good thing, but I can't support it without a road or some kind of bypass area on the road.
Any further discussion? Councillor Lamb.
Look, I'd just like to say I am not supporting the amendment as well, and for all the reasons that have just been discussed, so I won't go over them all again because I think it's very clear from what's been said, the feeling in the room. But I do just want to make point of the representatives and the huge amount of research and work and time and effort that you have all put into making sure that us as councillors were very aware of the things that you thought might have been missed in the reports and in the representations from other big businesses. You were very, very diligent in that respect, and I thank you so much for that. Because I think, you know, a lot of the environmental things and the heritage things were really brought home in some of those representations. So thank you very much for that. And the fact that you went to all the trouble to get a petition going to show the importance to your community about your feelings on this matter. And we've taken that on board. I think from hearing what everyone else is saying tonight, I believe that we are all on the same page here. So, but I just wanted to thank everyone for their time and effort because it's been huge. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Terrett, do you wish to sum up?
I think it's.
You've had us.
I was just going to mention about the petition. I meant to say before, but the petition was in our reports. So even though you thought it wasn't, we did see a copy of it. So everybody that signed it, I read all their names. I was in the report. So we did get to see that. So please don't think we didn't see it at all. We did get to see it. Thank you.
Councillor Terrett.
No, I think it's.
Right, it's been said.
Yep.
I'll put the recommendation to refuse. Put that to the councillors. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried.
Thank you. Yeah, 7.2.2.
Thank you very much.
Good girl.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.2.2, it's a recommendation from the Longford Local District Committee around the lack of river signage at Macquarie River Bridge, Woolmers Lane.
I apologise, Mayor. Where are we?
7.2.2, which should be page 20, I think.
Yeah, page 20.
Longford District Committee?
Yes. Yes.
The signage.
Yes, signage at the river.
Apologies.
We'll try and make it.
Okay.
There's a recommendation.
Officers' recommendation there that we note I'm going to abbreviate it. Note the request from the Longford Local District Committee. We acknowledge advice from the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre. The traditional names for Brumbies Creek and Woolmers Bridge are not known, and at the moment there is no current funding available. So can somebody move a recommendation?
I'll move that, and the committee can work on the budget next year, and we'll get that Aboriginal name for Macquarie River
Councillor Lambert seconding?
Yes, I'll
on the sign.
Okay, Councillor Adams, do you wish to speak to it?
No, I think it's straightforward.
Councillor Lambert?
No, straightforward.
And Councillor Terrett?
Question to the works manager. How much would this sign actually cost?
Sign's the cheap part. A sign and post and everything to put in, you're probably $400 or $500 per sign. That's just with the name Macquarie, not any other name on it. Then you've got to place it. The place isn't where we have the trouble. You've actually got to put traffic management up to set it all up, and that's where it all comes into play. It actually does get out there pretty quick. Just a Macquarie sign, just a street name blade, yeah, probably $200. But when you have the Aboriginal name, it goes going. And depending if you go to, if you've got two posts and all, we'll just keep going.
Public subscription, $1,000, we should be able to make it up.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Ross Local District Committee, they have a recommendation about flood mapping, and the recommendation is that adoption of any new flood mapping includes community consultation where required by the Land Use and Planning Approvals Act 1993, and that communities, including via the Local District Committee, are made aware of the release of the local flood studies. You're moving the recommendation? Yes, and councillor Lambert, was that your hand I saw?
Yes. I was
Seconding, John?
Yes, I'll second that.
Why not? Okay, councillor Terrett, do you wish to speak to it?
Just very quickly, the flood zoning is very important and it impacts on people's lives and homes greatly.
And insurance.
And insurance. But it's also a matter of saying, yes, we as a council want to engage. And I noticed the SES on the 8th of November are going to have an information session in relation to emergency planning, which includes the mapping as well. And I hope that many of the members from the Ross area go along to that because I think it's important for them. And the impact on areas like Avoca, Perth, Campbelltown are all important. And I hope the sentiments in this motion also go for those other towns.
And I'll just let you know, councillor Terrett, we are actively involved in that program. Any further comments? Councillor Goss?
Yeah, just speaking to that, I understand where some people are concerned about it, but when we get the flood maps and we get them to us and we've got them, then we can do stuff like planning for levy banks and planning for those kind of things. I mean, when we haven't got them, we can't really do them. But once we get the flood maps for places like Ross, Campbelltown, Longford, the ones that all get affected by those floods, then we can start doing something about it, seeking funding to help build levies, all the type of stuff we need to do in the future. Just like we did the flood levy at Longford once, and that was, it's a fantastic thing that council did, and the community did a long time ago, and we're still reaping the benefits from that, because if we hadn't had it in 2016, we'd have had a lot of houses underwater, and it's because we had that data about where the flood levels are, that's why those things are important. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Adams.
Just to make sure that the ratepayers are understanding that there's been a difference between the council's maps and the SES. And SES hasn't taken a lot of information that's been around to present theirs, but there is negotiation now to find. Are we talking to the people concerned about that? Do they understand?
Paul might answer that because he's been negotiating.
Yeah, we are talking with the people at SES about getting them remapped and remodelled to take into account.
They're being reasonable, Paul, are they?
Oh, they are, yeah. And for Longford, for example, there's third funding.
Right.
So yeah, they're on board with that. Yeah.
And they know Longford's got a levy.
Yes, they've got it.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Information items. I have declare an interest in 5.3.1 on page 31. So do you want to
Do everything else.
do everything else and then I'll step out for that? Okay, so I have a mover and a seconder. Sorry?
Do the petition one first.
No, that's just the information items. That's already been, it's just an information item really.
We'll move the information item.
Councillor Adams, seconder. Councillor Lambert.
Except 5.3.1.
Yeah, on page whatever.
All except that one, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions, discussion? Councillor Goss, Councillor Lambert seconded.
Clarification on the Canara Park. I was under the understanding that we weren't going to purchase that, but we are going to purchase it now.
There was a vote to, there was a vote to purchase.
Well, there was a vote to take over that land.
Okay.
Obviously, the State Growth approached council to take over that land, and council decided yes, it would. However, we've been sort of waiting 18 months, and we haven't progressed in that. So at this stage, it's just in limbo.
Again, State Growth.
Yes, State Growth.
Any further questions, discussion? Yes, Councillor Goss.
No, I might ask a question. I might go.
All right, I'll put the recommendation that we accept those items. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, I'll leave the room while the Deputy Mayor passes that last little bit.
receive.
I'll just move to receive item 5.3.1 on page 31. Mover, please. Councillor Goss, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Andrews.
We got any feedback on that? It says the legal advice from the 11th to the 2nd. Is that any update there? Acting Manager?
No, there's no further update on that.
Is there a time frame on it?
Well, the $11,000 has been, there was confirmation that that had been repaid, and and then the legal advice we've sought for the second part of that motion, or that recommendation.
So we haven't got the legal advice yet?
I believe we have received it, and we have an item tonight in closed council.
Thank you.
All right, I'll move the motion that we receive 5.3.1. All those in favour? Against?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. I'll get the minute back in. Have we done? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, now we move to Development Services Report. I think that's correct.
8.1.
It should be page 109.
Road widening?
That's code.
I thought it wasn't going to have a policy. It was.
Yeah, which is,
Okay.
And the monthly report,
The state.
we just need a mover and a seconder to accept it. Councillor Terrett, Councillor Goss, your
Sorry.
questions, yes, yes.
Again, what page is it on?
Oh, page 109 on the computer. Were you seconding that, Councillor Goss? You better read it quickly. Make sure it's what you want to second. Councillor Terrett moved and Councillor Goss, I'm thinking is seconding.
Yeah, I'll see that, yeah. Now I found it.
in the paper version, Councillor Ross.
Yes.
109.
Okay.
Okay, any questions from anybody?
109.
Councillor
I
Goss.
just thought that in a report, I think I'm reading the right one, it's just interesting to see this time they got $2.5 million worth of approvals to date, whereas last year we only had 40,000, and building approvals this year 13,800,000 to 4.3 million last year. So we're actually going a lot better this year than what we did last year. So that's good news for us. So.
Found some more buildings.
When you look around our community, there's a lot of building going on, It's, there is a lot of building happening everywhere you look, over at Translink, at Evandale, at Cressy, at Longford, Perth. There's a lot of building happening, and there's quite a bit of commercial stuff happening about when you see what's going on. So, the community's going really well. I spoke earlier about, the agriculture industry in the southern part of our Midlands is just incredible what it's doing now, the number of people that engage in it and what they're doing, the amount of stuff that they're building and making. Agriculture, because they've got more intense with their agricultural stuff, it's just made employment so much more diverse and so many more people. It's just incredible. And to see the people streaming into those areas in the morning, and then they stream back out at night, it's just incredible to see them going past. Thank you.
No, just to note that we're currently having a general revaluation done of the whole municipal area. So it'll be interesting to see the changes in property values when that's received, which I expect to receive something like March next year. So.
And just to add to what you said, Councillor Goss, I note that in 23-24 year, $255 million worth of development. We're doing pretty well. Any further questions? Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Corporate Corporate services, yes. Monthly financial statement. Do you wish to speak to it, Ms. Bicknell?
No, I haven't anything to highlight in this.
Councillor Adams is moving. Councillor Terrett seconding. Any questions, queries? Yes, Councillor Andrews.
Yes, I've got one. I know on page 119, we've had a tractor deferred, that we were going to buy a tractor to be deferred, excavator to be purchased. I'm presuming that this is to do with our budget that we set, where we took a lot of money away from the poor old works manager and told him that he'd manage okay. I'm just wondering about how the tractor not being purchased will affect the works program for the next 12 months.
No, the tractor's probably got a bigger lifespan of the reach arm, so actually the reach arm going to marry on. So next time we buy a tractor, it'll buy a reach arm together, we'll marry them together again. This one really, I can get it with the reach arm and run another 4 years.
Any other questions, queries? I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, 15.2 is the Longford Netball Club. The recommendation is that council commits to providing financial support of up to $5,000 to assist with the higher costs of the Longford Gymnasium, which will serve as a training facility for the Longford Netball Club during 2026 season. Councillor Goss is moving.
I'd like to move that, thank you.
Councillor Lambert seconding. Councillor Goss, do you wish to speak to it?
Yeah, this has been on the agenda for, not so much our agenda here, but on the community agenda for the Netball Club for quite a while. They've really struggled financially. I know their argument put to me a lot was that, other sporting organisations in our community, they get free use of Northern Midlands Council's facilities.
Not all, no. Some.
Would you like to speak, Mayor, or you want
No, you're fine, Just keep it factual.
I am keeping it pretty factual, I thought, Mayor, but you interrupted me, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, to carry on. Some of the other community groups get a really financial benefit from using North Midlands Council's facilities. Netball Club doesn't do that because they don't play any games there. All they do is train there at the gym. The costs are exorbitant for them and they can't afford to do it. If they get to the stage that they didn't get some funding for it, they're going to have to look at not operating anymore because it's just too much for them to do that. So I think it's important that we do support them, especially when we've got other organisations and groups in the community that don't pay as such for what they use in the community, and I think we need to give the Northern Netball Club some support. They do a fantastic job. They've got a heap of teams. I don't know when it says how many teams they've got in here, but a heap. And most of them are young girls and boys that play, and kids, students, and they're really building and fostering a great community ethos in the area, and they have done for many years. And you've got to think back. The Netball Club was at this facility before we had people privately lease it off council to run the gym and all those type of things. So they had use of it then, and they've probably had a lot of costs recently because of those costs coming from the third party that leased it now. Thank you.
Councillor Lambert.
Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely support this motion. I think reading through the papers, it was obvious that council used to support this club many years ago. I'm not quite sure why we've stopped supporting the club, but I absolutely endorse the fact that we look at the 2026 season. But then we need to look at how we're going to help them pass that, or what structures we can put in place to support them beyond 2026. I don't want to see these young women and men, and I presume they do have some men in their team, I think, not be able to play the sport that they want to play, and to see that disappear. It's a hugely important sport, and I noticed that there's courts being developed in Mowbray at the moment, which isn't going to help our teams, but I think we can help those kids by giving them the opportunity to be able to play by providing those funds. And I did notice that I think that they were playing, their inability to be able to fundraise is a key as well. It's a unique situation, I think, compared to other sporting organisations in our community who do have that ability to fundraise. These guys don't have that ability. And I'd hate to see netball disappear from our community. So I absolutely support this. I can see that the Rotary have supported them with a $3,000 support package, I suppose, but we need to look beyond 2026, how we're going to help support that club, some initiatives that we might be able to look for in that regard. But if we have been supporting them in the past, I think we should be supporting them again. So thank you.
Councillor Terrett.
I just recall we were looking at additional netball courts in the recreation area, and I just see if I can get an update of whether that's still going on or whether we were able to get that in the budget.
We did come to council asking to support a grant application to double the size of the sports centre to allow extra netball courts, but that wasn't supported. So at this stage, no, we're not looking at doing any more unless council change their mind, of course, in the future.
Councillor Adams.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I've raised this before when the issue was Hobbles Bridge.
Hobblers Bridge.
Hobblers Bridge Road on the way to Kilafatti and the Hutton Meatworks. That's where a lot of netball's played, and they seem to bring everything into there, and that was the business model that they went down, I guess, as an association of teams. And but that, as Councillor Goss has said, this hasn't done us out here any good because our teams can't train in Launceston, or there's too much issues to get there. Now there was a report, a northern report done, sports report done on by the Department of Sport and Rec, I think that's still the name, but we should look that up and see if there's anything in there that may have been of assistance to us, and maybe we can, if there's any programs that we can help us with, get that extra few netball courts.
Any further discussion? Councillor Goss, do you wish to sum up?
Just, I know it's called the Longford Netball Club, but can I really say that it is called the Longford Netball Club, but the people, they come from all over the Northern Midlands. They come from Campbelltown, they come from Cressy, they come from Bishopsburn, they come from Perth, from Evandale to play at Longford. And it is called Longford the Netball Club, but it really is a much broader collection of people than just from the Longford area. They are from the Northern Midlands, and this will support girls and boys across the whole Northern Midlands, not just in the Longford area.
I'll let you know too, the Campbelltown boys and girls netball clubs won their grand finals, both of them. It was excellent. Okay, sorry. All right, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Can you come up again, please, Deputy Mayor? I'll step out for this item.
Okay, so our next item is 15.3, policy review, councillors' allowances, travelling and other expenses. And there is a recommendation from the council that they endorse the amended council's allowance, travelling and other expenses policy. So can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I move that council not endorse the amended council allowance travel.
So Councillor Terrett's moving not to endorse. Do I have a seconder for that?
I just need to get clear I didn't quite hear that, Councillor.
Not to endorse the changes, or the changes to the policy.
Changes to the policy. Okay, thank you for
So,
that.
so Councillor Terrett's not to endorse the changes to the policy. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Goss?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yes, you're seconding that? Okay, so we have a seconder for that, not to, have you got that up on the board? I can't see it. How do I get that on here?
I'm not sure. There is.
You need to scroll.
on the council screen. Sorry, I'm just playing with the Mayor's technology here. There we go, I've got it, thank you. Councillor Goss. Sorry, Councillor Terrett, my apologies.
No. this policy was it's normally reviewed just after the election of an incoming council. And it is my opinion that this should be then considered by an incoming council. The changes on here in relation to legal assistance, that is already covered by the Local Government Act, Section 341, and I know the report doesn't make any mention of that, which is the immunity from liability. And as a consequence, that has a real effect on the legal assistance that's provided, regardless of what this policy says. The other side of this is that Office of Local Government, the Director has asked that his advice from January 20th, 2025, is before any policy is adopted, and he asked for the review, is to seek legal advice whether it's necessary.
I'm just not sure, is Councillor talking about, sorry to interrupt you, are you talking about the allowances travelling and other expenses, or are you talking about the new policy, legal assistance of employees?
That's all under the same
He's
one.
referring to the changes to those policies. So it is the mayoral allowance, and I believe
Which includes the legal expenses.
the legal expenses.
As a new section
I
of
just
that.
asked, 15.4 was about the legal assistance for employee, so that's a separate item, they're not bundled all together?
But 15.3 is, adds into the councillor allowance policy, a section on legal expenses.
Okay.
Look,
Thank you, sorry to interrupt, thank you for the clarification.
I just remind you that you seconded that motion.
Yep, it's okay.
And I will offer that this matter be deferred to a workshop if council are not quite clear on the processes under.
So there's not a time frame or anything that this needs to be.
Workshop.
So would you like to consider, Councillor Terry, moving that to a workshop?
Look, I'm comfortable to move it to a workshop, but I still have a number of concerns in relation to this.
What are the concerns that we could perhaps bring up at the workshop and work through?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, but I still have my concerns whether we're doing this now or not.
Maybe I can
So if we're going to amend, defer, Councillor Goss, are you happy to second deferring it to a workshop?
I was possibly that, but I would like to see it happen. There's a lot of things in here which I think we need more discussion on. I think the workshop's the best place to do it.
Deputy Mayor, I'd love, workshop is fine, but I still think we need that legal advice as the Director has requested as part of his advice out. And I'd like to
Get some clarification from, have we had that?
We have had
advice?
legal advice, it was actually done by a barrister, but happy to talk councillors through that at a workshop. Yeah.
That'll come to the workshop then. So we have had barristers' legal advice, so all of that will come to the workshop. So if there are no other speakers and we are going to defer it to a workshop, can I move that we defer this item to a future workshop? All those in favour?
That's just the one, the 15.3, not 15.4. No, 3.
His motion to that.
Are you happy to, you were happy to amend that, weren't you, Councillor? And Councillor Goss, you were happy to second that? Well, I'll put that to the council then. All those in favour of deferral? Those in favour?
Actually voted just a minute ago.
Well, I'm just asking again for clarity. All those in favour? Against? Thank you. Carried. Carried.
Okay, even though it's our time to take a meal break, do you wish? We've got one to go.
Let's do the one.
Yes, that's right. Yes. And we've, that's the last one before the meal break, so the people online don't have to hang around.
I'll move the recommendation to get things moving.
Seconder for the recommendation? Councillor Andrews. Councillor Adams.
As read, I'll leave it up to councillors.
Any discussion from anybody? Councillor Terry?
Not to speak against the motion. Given that we've just moved to defer the previous item, this is, has a lot of impact to the previous motion that was deferred for a workshop, and consideration should be given to defer this to a workshop as well. In relation to legal assistance, the fact is section 34(1) clearly talks about immunity from liability, which takes paramountcy over this policy. The councillors' officers and liabilities covers all these aspects, and most of these aspects in relation to that. And it's also covered through our work health and safety and employment wellbeing policy, that the requirements for council to indemnify our employees anyway. I don't believe we have not required this in the past, and I still see no reason for us to having this now. There is, the other thing too, is vicarious liability. The council is responsible for their employees, and under law, vicarious liability is in existence.
Can I just ask the acting general manager, are we now not required to have policies in place?
We're not required, but it is best practice, and we have sought legal advice from a council solicitor and a barrister to draft this legal policy, and it's really up to council whether they wish to adopt or not.
Any further discussion? Councillor Goss?
Sorry, I just, there's no clarification about how many times an employee can access this stuff per year. I mean, possibly you could have an employee who might want to do this 15 times in a year, which could cost 150,000. You know, I think there needs to be clarification around those kind of things. You know, one time in a time frame or one time per year. I'm not sure, but I don't know what, but I think that needs to be clarified. I did get a bit confused before because I was confused because we've got the word employees and councillors, and it talks about councillors in here. I'm just a bit confused about that. This is not talking about councillors, it's only talking about employees, but it does mention some councillors in the document. But I'd just like a bit more clarification on this, and I know we've got a motion for it, but again, I'd like to have a bit more discussion on it, and maybe think about that. Just needs to be clarified before, and there might be other things as well which I didn't pick up, but we do need to get some clarification about some of those things, so possibly that should come back to the workshop as well. So that's what I'd like to see possibly happen.
Quite happy to.
Councillor Lambert?
I think in light of the fact that we
Sorry, I interrupted. Are you foreshadowing a motion, Councillor Adams?
I will.
Councillor Lambert?
I was just going to say, in light of the fact that we have already moved policy 15.3 to a workshop, I think it would be prudent to do the same thing for this policy, because there seems to be some confusion, and I think that we need to have that clarified and cleared up to make sure that we totally understand what we are voting for here, and I think there are lots of questions that still need to be answered. I would preface that by saying I think we have a responsibility to make sure that our employees are supported and well looked after, and we need to make sure that we get this policy right.
So you're foreshadowing a motion?
So I might suggest maybe the mover and the seconder might like to look at being consistent with the other policy and defer it.
Councillor Adams and Councillor Andrews, you're happy to defer? Councillor Andrews.
Can I ask a question first, please? I thought we'd already workshopped these two items.
We have previously workshopped them, but I still think there's some confusion with councillors, and there's obviously more clarifications that they require. There is some limitations with the amount of legal expenses and those sort of things, but I think the councillors are still unclear, and maybe another workshop is a good idea. And to look at it in a little bit more detail this time.
So Councillor Adams and Councillor Andrews, are you happy to change your motion to defer this item?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any further discussion from anybody? I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Just let the people online know we're going to our meal break, but then we'll be coming back to close council, so we're stopping the recording.